time of the new year where we are, making time to reorganize our lives, or perhaps make some New Year's goals and recreate ourselves. So I wish you a happy new you in this new year. I want to talk to you today about living from the inside out instead of the outside in, for we are living in a world where the conditions of the world can tempt us to think impossible instead of possible. So today I'm going to share with you a few personal stories that illustrate the power of renewal, demonstrate that, and staying focused on what is possible rather than what is not possible. Focused on vision instead of limitation. And I'm going to outline 3 steps inspired really by Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder. And these steps, I hope then personally they will help you in your life, and as well as a church as you move toward your new location for your building. As was mentioned, in the 1990s, I participated and facilitated, worked for ropes courses, and from that I was led into an experience called the fire walk. And in fire walking, it's a transformative experience which you totally surrender to Spirit. And in that surrender, it allows you to be able to, yes, walk on hot coals with your bare feet and not get burned. I still have that 3x5 card that says, today I walked on fire. The impossible is possible. And so today I'm going to help you find out what is your fire walk. Maybe you could identify what that might be. What seems difficult, but something that you feel driven and inspired to move toward. And if you don't say yes to the growth that it takes to get you there, then it might be a difficult path. There might be some opportunities lost or some stagnation. Well, John O'Leary, in his book On Fire, 7 Choices to Ignite a Radically Inspired Life, calls this turning point or place of choice that can change the trajectory of your life an inflection point. An inflection point is that moment that shows up in your life where it is an opportunity to propel us forward into the next best version or vision of ourselves. And one choice may be to play it safe and stay comfortable, but then nothing changes. And the other may be to take a chance and go for it, even though it might feel a little just scary and uncomfortable. Stagnation or growth, what will it be? So I just wanted to share with you a little bit from his chapter or part on stagnation and growth. And what he says is, what's really possible through your life? This is a question, thank you, that can't be fully answered if you're looking down at your feet. This is your inflection point. Anxiety and fear will keep you stagnant. What if I fail? What if I'm too old? What if I'll never walk again? In looking down, all you see is your shoes, the dirt, and all you feel is discouragement and struggle. But you can choose instead to look up, stretch, and breathe life and possibility into every moment. This is your day. Put your cape back on. Remember the powerful possibility that lived in your heart as a child. Begin daring to dream again. What if this is just the beginning? What if I actually could succeed? What if I can make a profound impact in another's life? What if I stretched actively forward each day? Isn't it time to risk it all in order to build something, inspire another into becoming something great, someone great? Isn't it time to stretch courageously toward the limitless possibility of your life? Isn't it time you get moving, start dreaming, begin growing? Growth is the only evidence of life. Choose growth. The scripture I've centered my lesson on today is from Romans 12:2, where the Apostle Paul says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Being conformed to the world is being conformed to those appearances, to the sense consciousness, as our co-founder Charles Fillmore put it. Being conformed to the world is being conformed to ego instead of spirit. And our third principle teaches us how we can renew our minds through the activity of thought, how we can use denials and affirmations and self-correct when we get caught up in the external conditions of the world. The last part of the scripture says then that when you renew your mind, you can discern the will of God. Well, what is the will of God? Charles Fillmore, in The Revealing Word, defines the will of God as perfection and all good, perfect health in mind and body, abundance of every good thing, including joy, wisdom, peace, and eternal life. In unity, will, like all the other 12 powers, is a power that we have within us. It's not something that we're separate from, for we are not separate from God's will, except in perception. We have will and we use it every day. It is our power to choose. I can choose to listen to that monkey mind, or I can renew my mind as a daily practice. Mother Myrtle Fillmore has a great chapter in How to Let God Help You, where she calls it New Year Opportunities. Quote, "The very word new gives a welcome because there is something in the makeup of mankind that craves the freshness that the word suggests. So why not give the word new a place every day? Why not on first awakening remind ourselves that this is a fresh new day, full of possibilities? God did not endow us with a brain, a soul, a spirit, only to have us get caught up or entangled in the web of habit." Mary Morrissey teaches in her prosperity classes to say this every day when you wake up: today is a brand new baby day. I like that. I've used that. Myrtle Fillmore further says, "The restrictions of yesterday have no power to overshadow our lives today. When we realize that we are in the eternal now, let us begin our day with newness of thought and courage." Now, I would also add that when we're in that eternal now, there is no past to hold us back. So how do we begin with newness in thought and courage? Where do we find this eternal now where there is no lack or restriction? Every day we are bombarded by negative input. I don't know about you, but when I listen to it, I become upset and angry. And I have to change my internal GPS. That's God positioning system. And focus instead from not the outside, but to the inside. I must make a choice to renew my mind, and it is from that conscious choice to turn away from negativity that brings more life-supporting choices. And this is the divine power of will. Now, Myrtle outlines a 1-2-3 process in her discourse. The first one is begin the day and stick with a positive thought and stick with it. I've used it's a brand new baby day. I've also used everything in the universe conspires for my good. And sometimes I really have to kick in and use some more, bring music into it. And so I was taught this chant many years back, before I even knew about affirmations and denials. But when my mind is racing and when I'm having a hard time quieting down those negative thoughts, this is the chant, or these two chants are what I use. And it goes like this. I am the master living here, free from doubt and free from fear. Knowing now all good supply ever comes from realms on high. I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am, I am. I am that I am. You can sing that with me, right? I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am the master living here, free from doubt and free from fear. Knowing now all good supply ever comes from realms on high. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am, I am. And here's another one that I learned, and it goes, I am light and energy radiating in eternity. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. I am light and energy radiating in eternity. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. I am light and energy radiating in eternity. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. Now, could you hold a negative thought while you're singing this chant? So anything that you can use that assists you, you can use. Gary Simmons in The Eye of the Storm teaches us that we are always on a continuum of believing that nothing and no one is against us. In other words, that one presence and one power. There's only one presence and one power. We either are believing it and acting from that or not. So it's our first principle. And when we're in the center or the eye of the storm, that's when we are responding from Christ consciousness instead of fear. We can center in that and then respond instead of react. The second step that Myrtle says is to use gratitude. She said, beauty and appreciation are inborn, and so are all the qualities that make for the transformation in the outer world. Emerson teaches that those who have the capacity to appreciate beautiful things have more enduring title to them than those who hold material ownership of them. Now, years ago, when Oprah started her Change Your Life TV, she had a guest, Sarah Van Brannick, who was an author of a book called Simple Abundance. And Sarah Van Brannick taught Oprah about gratitude and having a gratitude journal. And that was when I started my gratitude practice. So gratitude is another way to renew our minds. And the third step is our fourth principle. We use prayer and meditation. We self-reflect. And this self-reflection is most usefully done during that time of prayer and meditation. And Myrtle said this, do you want to make every day new of every day of the year? Have you looked on the dark side? Find the silver lining of your own ideals. Have you the habit of holding grievances? Look within and see the joy tucked away in the remote corners of your heart. And the world without will grow roseate to your charmed vision. Go step by step through old habits of mind and bring forth the glory of their hidden side. You will find angels of overlooked opportunities coming forth from the most commonest demands of everyday life. So ready is this glory to come into your life that you need only turn your face upon it to behold the angel of the new. Your home and life and all therein will be transformed through renewed purpose, thought, and word. Thank you, Mother Myrtle. So in review, there are these 3 steps that we can use to renew our minds. 1, have a beginner's mind. Start the day affirmatively by focusing on newness and being in the present. This is a brand new baby day. It's full of fresh possibilities to demonstrate the glory of God. The second one is to stay focused on gratitude. You can't hold a negative thought while you're focusing on gratitude. And that opens up our minds to behold all the abundance, infinite abundance that's in our lives. And the last one, step 3, is be aware and know yourself by reflecting and using prayer and meditation. I can't pass up this opportunity, though, to tell you the story of one night that Martin Luther King had an inflection point. It was a dark night of the soul for him on January 27th, 1956. He was receiving threatening phone calls on himself and his family, and he was questioning his strength, his capacity to move forward with the nonviolent movement, which was just beginning. And so he stayed up all night and he prayed, and he asked God for help. He asked Jesus for help. And he prayed until he received an answer. And the answer he received was to keep moving forward with that vision of nonviolence. And some days later, when his home was attacked, he calmed the angry crowd with words of nonviolence. And hopefully you know now the rest of the story. This was an inflection point for him. He could have quit, but he went ahead with the strength of his renewed mind and spirit. Now, these are two of my favorite quotes by Martin Luther King. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And then this one, faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. Faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. So 2 weeks ago, we had a Marianne Williamson event in Richmond. Our church, Unity of Bon Air and Unity of Richmond, co-hosted the event. It was at the local Huguenot High School that seated 1,000 people. And it was during the aftermath of that great winter storm that we had. And the schools were closed the whole week from Wednesday on. And on Friday afternoon, our event coordinator was told, the schools will not open tomorrow. You can't have your event. Wow. So there were already over 700 tickets pre-sold. Marianne was already being picked up from the airport. The books also had been delayed because of the weather and so forth. So there was a few things that happened. One was prayer chaplains were holding the high watch and praying. 2, our minister, Reverend Joyce Fisher-Pierce, and other leaders of the church were calling the school board superintendents over that school district, asking them if they would reconsider. And last, there was another team calling around to see what church in the local area could accommodate us on such short notice that would seat over 700 people. And at 11:37 that night, we received the word that we could have the event on Saturday. Now that in and of itself was a miracle. The books came at noon on the day of the event. They were delivered to Reverend Richard's house. But even before that, when we were told what it would cost for our size church, which is not a mega church, to bring Marianne Williamson, we could have stopped there. That inflection point could have been, we can't afford Marianne Williamson. But the vision, the negotiating, for a discounted price and so forth, made it possible because we kept the thought on what would this event do for the community? How would it bless the community? And we, the team that was working on it just would not give up their vision on that. She gave a great message, which one was that you don't have to wait till everything's perfect in your life to show up, all right? Don't wait until things are perfect, but show up, be present anyway. She also blessed us with a racial reconciliation process that was so moving. And also she talked about showing up for people that you disagree with in love and using spiritual laws for the greater good and not our personal gain. I'd like to conclude today by, I hope that you can take with you what I took from my fire walk, to turn to your inner light instead of appearances. The impossible is possible. So what is your firework? Walk. And maybe your fireworks too. What is your fire walk? And instead of thinking impossible, affirm these words. I'm possible. I walk in faith, guided by my inner light. So let's say that together. I'm possible. I walk in faith, guided by my inner light. That was last week's daily word, by the way. So again, I'm possible. I walk in faith, guided by my inner light. The key to fire walking is to focus on where you're going, on the other side. So you're not looking at your feet or noticing or paying attention to the heat of the coals, but where you're going. So stay focused on who and what you are. Keep your vision. And I leave you with Marianne Williamson's most famous words from A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. And there is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Blessings and namaste.